What's up? My name is Rob, and in this video we're going to talk about color contrast and why it's so important to accessible digital design. Accessible design is all about creating products and services and environments that are inclusive for people with disabilities. Color contrast is a key element of accessible design and can be defined as the difference in lightness and saturation between two colors. The difference in lightness and saturation between two colors is usually displayed as a ratio, such as 7:1. The higher the ratio, the better the contrast, and therefore more accessible. So poor color contrast is consistently reported as one of the top reasons why a digital product is inaccessible. In 2022, WebAIM reported that low contrast text was found on roughly 84% of homepages on the web. This is a design issue at its source, and designers must be super mindful of the colors they use when creating designs for digital products. The reason why color contrast is so important in accessible design is because it can greatly affect the readability of the text for people with visual impairments. For example, if the text color and the background color have low contrast, it can be difficult for someone with color blindness or low vision to read the text. This can lead to frustration, confusion, and even exclusion for these individuals. And color blindness is much more common than you think. 92% of people have normal vision, but roughly 4.5% have red or red-green color blindness. And then 0.026% of people have blue-yellow color blindness. And then 0.0001% of people have complete color blindness. So 0.0001% may sound like an insignificant amount of people. But when you apply this on the global population level, so that's 8 billion people, what 0.0001% works out to 800,000 people who are totally colorblind. That also means on a global population level, roughly 360 million people have some form of color blindness. That's 30 million more than the population of the USA. I hope these numbers can illustrate to you the size of the problem with poor color contrast. So how do you achieve good color contrast in design? So one approach is to use the color wheel. Complementary colors, which are opposite on the color wheel, have the highest contrast and therefore have a higher ratio of color contrast, and then analogous colors, or colors which are next to each other on the color wheel, so green, blue, purple, for example, will have lower contrast when compared to each other. Another approach is to use a color contrast checker. This is a tool that allows you to compare two colors and see if they meet certain contrast standards. There are several online color contrast checkers available that you can use for free, as well as some great Figma plugins. To ensure that text is readable for all users, the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, or WCAG for short, recommends a minimum color contrast ratio of 4.5:1 for normal text and 3:1 for large text. This means that the difference in lightness between the text color and the background color should be 4.5 times, or should be at least 4.5 times greater for normal text and 3 times greater for large text. WCAG guidelines define large-scale text as 18 point and above, or 14 point bold and above. So bear this in mind when designing. In addition to create the most accessible designs, you can also use these contrast standards and apply them to different elements on the page, such as buttons and links. So in conclusion, color contrast is an essential element of accessible design. It helps to ensure that text and other elements are easily readable for all users, including those with visual impairments. By following the recommended color contrast ratios and using color contrast checkers, designers can be confident that their designs are easily readable and accessible to all users. If you have any questions or thoughts, please leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.